easier to watch me when I'm playing it in fast forward. I do certain gestures a lot, and when you speed them up, it looks quite funny. And I just realized I've been playing with the same button all morning, so hopefully YouTube's not covering everything yet, because I just look like I'm pulling like. But I know somebody else is a little bit nervous this morning. I want to ask John if he would come up. And this is a bit of a new experience for John, but I am thrilled that he would come. Good morning, John.
Good morning.
How are you? You're not nervous at all, are you?
A little bit.
A little bit, okay. Just step right up to that one there.
Wonderful.
This is John Bocaz, who has become a real good friend of mine. I met, how long ago? A year and a half?
About that, yeah.
Yeah, we were doing, I was doing a thing called a foundations class, which is really about just starting out, bottom line faith stuff, and whatever questions you have, bring them and we'll go through them. And that's where we met. I met you and Melissa then, and you guys were full of questions, but full of enthusiasm, because your relationship with God was new at that point. Correct. Can you just give me a little bit of an overview? I know that the last couple of people we've had up sharing have started out, talking about growing up in a Christian environment. That's not necessarily your story.
No.
So would you just give us a window on your
yeah, well, I grew up in Toronto until I was about 14. Didn't grow up in a Christian home. When I moved to Canada, I got in kind of all sorts of trouble as a teenager or whatever. So, yeah, and we never grew up in a Christian household. I never knew anything about God or Jesus or anything like that. And then I met Melissa, my wife over there at the back there, and we ended up going to an Alpha course. Somebody introduced us to it, and that's basically where it started.
It's one of my favorite memories, probably of all time, was we started a home group, because I remember once you guys had been through the foundations class, you said, we need something next. I don't want to just drop this, because it was all so fresh to you. Can you just tell me what it was like when you made that transition from non-believer to believer?
Not really. I can't. Sorry.
How did you feel? Did you feel like your life changed immediately, or was it?
Well, yeah. I guess yeah. Not well immediately in some ways, and not immediately in others. I mean, again, it's just I wasn't like versed in it or anything, so I was learning as I went along, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Everything was brand new to you.
Yes.
And I remember the first night we were sitting at our house, because we started a small group in our home, and it's kind of neat to see what's happening with that group even. But I remember you and Melissa were sitting there, and Brian and Marnie were sitting there, and I had no idea that you and Brian had actually attended the same school for a period of time, and Brian didn't either. And the funniest thing was, after you guys left that night, we had talked a little bit in our group about miracles, and do they exist? Remember, do miracles really happen, or that's what we were talking about. And after you guys left, Brian was sitting there going, "I'm looking across the room at this guy, and I think I recognize him, but there's no way the guy I think that is sitting in the living room Bible study at your house."
That's right. It's true. That's what I mean. I mean, I came from like just a rough teenage life. I mean, I had absolutely no direction at all, and I don't know. I just was never really cared about anything other than myself. I was very selfish at that during my teenage years, and then I did a lot of growing up, and I absolutely, if anything, I do believe now, because we're expecting our first child in April, so miracle.
Yeah. So things are good.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And you feel like you're growing?
Yes.
Spiritually?
Yes.
What are the biggest differences you see in your life?
Biggest differences would be, I guess, that I'm not the same as I was a few years ago.
Which is big.
Yeah, it's very big. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So. What's been most helpful to you? Because you've gone from, you've made a major transition.
Yes.
What kind of things have been most helpful for you, either people or Bible reading?
I would say it would have to be my wife, for one, number one, Melissa, and her family, her parents, Marcel and Leona. They just opened their arms to me into their home, and it was beautiful. So.
And it probably is that effective because they probably loved you before you were perfect, right?
Well, I was in that transition, so going through it.
Good answer.
Yeah.
There we go.
But they saw the potential, I guess, in me.
Yeah.
I guess you could say. I'm guessing. I don't know. I've never discussed it with them. So.
Maybe you will over lunch. Yeah. But I believe they saw where your life was going.
Yes.
And that your heart was soft
to
the Lord.
It was softening, yes.
How would you say your life is growing most right now?
Well, like I said, we're expecting our first baby, and just, I don't know, just meeting you and just hanging out with you guys. My life is completely different. I have other friends who don't read the Bible or have nothing to do with Christianity, and I would think that they would be, you know, like those old high school habits coming back where you think people are going to poke fun at you and kind of be like, what are you doing, sort of thing, but not at all. My friends are even, I think it's just a maturity thing, you know, you just start to mature. In my group anyways. So.
I remember you said something one night that was interesting, because you said some of your friends have said that they feel like they're stuck.
Yes.
And staying in the same stage of life, and you're moving past that. So
yes.
Clearly you feel like you're
Yeah.
growing.
Yes, absolutely. Yep.
Well, thank you for
Thank you
for sharing. It's great for everybody to get a little bit of a window to get to know you better. We look forward to you and Melissa welcoming your little one in. And
Awesome.
I think one of the things that, as we move into this whole subject of accountability, you've said on a few times, both you and Melissa have said that knowing that you're going to see certain people helps you stay on track.
Yes.
You've said that. I remember at the retreat we took, you were
Yeah.
talking about that a few times.
Yeah.
That there's some things you were trying to deal with that you couldn't have done on your own.
No,
But you needed
definitely.
that support from
That's right.
from your wife and from family and
Yeah.
eventually friends too.
Friends, that's
So
right. Absolutely.
Thanks for being willing to share.
Thank you.
You don't act nervous at all.
Oh.
Thanks, Johnny.
That's the cry of our hearts, Lord. We want to be just like you.